Hello everyone, I'm Pamela Coons at the Wellness Radio TV in Chicago and here at the home of the DuSable Museum. The DuSable Museum named after the man considered the founding father of Chicago, Jean-Baptiste Point DuSable. He was the son of a slave woman and a French man, and the story goes he originally went to New Orleans because of fur trading. Then he came to Chicago and set up along what is now considered Michigan Avenue, a trading post. Jean-Baptiste DuSable, a young man who was an entrepreneur, he had been educated in Europe and spoke many languages. He was often used as an interpreter, as a matter of fact, an interpreter for the U.S. government. He spoke the languages of the Native Americans. He spoke French. He spoke African languages. And how fitting to have this museum named in his honor. This building, as a matter of fact, was built in the 1800s when the World Fair was here in Chicago, and then it later became a police administration building. And under the Daley administration, it was gifted to Dr. Margaret Burrow, who started the African American Museum. It was donated to her for just $1. She got a 75-year lease on this building for $1. It's my understanding they did it. This building was just sitting here, but didn't expect her to succeed. But this African American History Museum has been very successful here in historic Hyde Park, in Washington Park, now surrounded by Chicago University. This museum houses artifacts from slavery to freedom. To Harold Washington, there is an additional wing. It is the Harold Washington wing of the DuSable Museum. And Google donated the first hologram. Harold Washington, Mayor Harold Washington, appears in a hologram here in this museum. Over 15,000 artifacts here in this museum. Now, of course, we all hear so much about the African American History Museum in Washington, D.C. This museum also has affiliation with the Smithsonian, but Dr. Margaret Burrow's African American History Museum is considered the very first in the United States of America. Started in 1961. That wasn't a long time ago, but just to think that the African American story from the perspective of the African had not been preserved in this kind of way. This museum originally started in Dr. Burrow's home and then moved to another location, and then later moving to this building in 1975.
Dr. Burrow's present, you have some. I had some extras downstairs.
Oh, nice. She was an artist.
Yeah, she was an artist.
Yeah.
She does all that. That's why she could have got here and said she did all that.
Oh, my goodness.
You let the ones to sound, but these wasn't sound, but you're more than welcome, so you keep up the spirit of the legacy going.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, brother, thank you.
No doubt, sister. I know you appreciative.
I will get these framed. I have a studio in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay, well, frame them and keep them, because she knows what she does. She started.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Al, come here. Come on over here, Al. Here, I'm going to talk to Al. Al, how long have you been working here?
I've been here 13 years.
So I'm here at the DuSable Museum in Chicago, and Al, who's been here for 13 years,
yes,
and some incredible history, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of things, because it is a museum, but they have a lot of events and things that happen here as well.
Yes, they do. We have a lot of events, and a lot of exhibits are moving exhibits, so a lot of stuff be on loan. But I've been 13 years now. There's nothing I don't know about exhibits that come in. I like to share the knowledge with everybody that comes to the door. So that's what I do.
And Al just gifted me with some prints. Dr. Margaret Burrow, who is the founder of this museum started in 1961. In this building, she was given this building
1975
in 1975 to lease for 75 years.
For 75 years.
For $1 a year?
No, I don't know if it's for $1 a year. I know the $1 lease. I don't know what the circumstances were. But
oh, wow. And so this is some of her work.
This is some of her work.
She was an artist.
Right, some of her prints.
Some of her prints.
Right.
Wow, Al, thank you so much
for sharing them. As long as you're able to show them out, that's what I'm appreciative of.
Thank you.
All right, you have a safe trip.
Thank you. Right. Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Next time I see them, they've been framed, and you have something on the wall all the time.
I will.
And I remember you, and you remember Al.
Thank you, Al, so much. I appreciate that.
Hey, have a safe trip.
Thank you. We are here at the DuSable Museum in Chicago. So happy to have my visitors stop by, Al, to tell me about it. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago. As I was saying, the wing here in honor of Harold Washington, who was the first African American mayor of Chicago. As a matter of fact, Harold Washington became mayor the first year I moved to Chicago, and I really, really felt like, wow, I'm moving to Chicago, first African American mayor. And, you know, Barack Obama was the first president, of course, of the United States of America. But if you recall, during the time of that election of Harold Washington to become mayor of Chicago, black people were watching those returns with almost the same intensity that we watched the returns when our president, Barack Obama, was running for president of the United States. It was a huge deal. And as I've been driving around Chicago, and I drove down not Michigan Avenue, but Lakeshore Drive, every time I'm in Chicago and I'm driving along Lakeshore Drive, and I don't even have to be thinking about it, but as soon as I get to that point where I heard on the radio that Harold Washington died, that memory floods me again, because tears came to my eyes. I had an opportunity as a young journalist to interview Mayor Harold Washington. He was so kind. I obviously looked very uncomfortable during that news conference, and he looked at me, winked at me, and nodded his head like, it's okay. Settle down, it's okay. And that gave me such comfort and such peace, and I cannot help but think about that man who helped to set the tone in this city and will forever be a part of the fabric of this city. Now, we have President Barack Obama. There is a library that's being opened and a museum that's being opened in honor of President Barack Obama as well. I am not sure about the dates on that or anything, but that's going to be very exciting. But to be here at the DuSable Museum in Hyde Park, historic Hyde Park in Chicago, Illinois, on the south side of Chicago, this beautiful jewel that is a part of this community. As many museums have challenges keeping their doors open, this one is no different. But it has stood the test of time, and I trust that it will continue to stand the test of time and continue to be preserved as a place that you can come to find the story of the African that came to the United States of America. Their story told by the African Americans. Over 15,000 artifacts here in this beautiful, beautiful structure that was built in the 1800s, a part of the World's Fair here in Chicago. At the DuSable Museum in Chicago, Illinois. I'm Pamela Coombs at the Wellness Radio TV. Remember, there is healing at the well.